Hi there, in this video we are learning how to solve linear equations. So to begin with the very simplest one, we are having 3y equals 18. Before we do how to do the solving linear equations, I'm going to introduce the inverse of each operation. So the inverse of the positive is a negative, the inverse of the negative is positive, the inverse of times is divide, and the inverse of the divide is times. Now, we'll be using these inverse operations while solving the linear equations. So to begin with the first one now, we see that we are trying to find out the value of y. So we need to get rid of this 3 written with 5. Between 3 and y, because there's no sign, it means that there is a multiply in between them. And the inverse of the times is divide. So we're going to do divide by 3 on both the sides. To do divide by 3 on both the sides, we will be getting y equals how many 3 makes 18 would be 6. To show you the next one now, so it's x minus 3 equals 15. In this one, we are trying to find out the x value and we are having minus 3 on the left hand side. So the inverse of this minus is a positive, so we do plus 3 on both the sides. We are having now on the left hand side would be x because minus 3 and plus 3 would cancel. And on the right hand side we are having 15 plus 3, that would be 18. To show you the next one now, we are having x over 4 equals 3. Now this line means is a divide, so this represents for divide. It means x is dividing by 4 and the inverse of the divide is times. So we're going to times by 4 on both the sides, and this times by 4 divide by the bottom 4. You'll be having just x by itself on the left hand side. On the right hand side you're having two numbers which are multiplying each other. So 3 times 4 makes 12. The next example is when we are having 2y over 4 equals 5. As we discussed in the previous question that this line represents for time, divide, and the inverse of this divide is multiply. So to get rid of this denominator 4, you multiply by 4 on both the sides. When you multiply by 4 with the left hand side, the top and the bottom 4 would simplify. All you'll be getting is just 2y on the left hand side. With the right hand side, you're having two numbers, which is 5 times 4, that would be 20. Now we see that still we are not getting the y by itself. So 2 and y is multiplying each other. The inverse of that would be divide. So we divide by 2 on both the sides and we'll be getting y equals half of 20 is 10, and that would be the value of y. The next example is when we are having 2x minus 1 equals 14. So now we have got two operations written. Here you see that we have got 2x and we are having minus 1 as well. We're always going to start with the 1 which is written without the x term. So we never divide by 2, but we're going to do with this minus 1. The inverse of this minus 1 would be the plus 1 on both the sides. This minus 1 and plus 1 will go. You'll be getting 2x equals 15. Now you're going to try to get rid of this 2 which is written with x. So divide by 2 on both the sides. And when you divide by 2 on both the sides, it would be 15 over 2. So the half of 15 is 7.5. You can even write down your answer in the decimal form. To show you the next example, while solving the equation, we can even have a question to be written in a bracket form. And whenever we have got the bracket, the first thing we do is to expand the brackets and then we solve the equation. So the first step is to expanding brackets. It means multiply the term written outside the bracket with the terms written inside the bracket. So when you do 5 times a would be 5a minus 5 times 3 is 15 equals 25. Now as I said that we have got two numbers written on the left hand side. We have got this 5 and this minus 15. We always try to eliminate the number which is not written with a. So the inverse of this minus 15 would be plus 15 on both the sides. Then 2 will go. You're having 5a equals, and when you do 25 plus 15 would be 40. Now still we have to find out the a values. So we divide by 5 on both the sides and then it would be a equals, how many 5 makes 8? 40 would be 8. Now, here's the question we are having written in a fraction form. So, we are having now, which is the next example is w plus 3 over 4 equals 6. Alright, so as I said that this line represents for divide and the inverse of a divide is a multiply. So we always try to get rid of the denominator number first. We'll go into times by 4 on both the sides. So because this times by 4 would be the whole thing written, this can go with the denominator 4. All we'll be having on the left hand side would be w plus 3. The right hand side would be 6 times 4 would be 24. Now we'll still be able, we need to find out the w value from here. So we're going to do minus 3 on both the sides. This plus 3 and minus 3 will cancel each other and you'll be having w equals, when you do 24 minus 3, that would be 21. Now this is now the example where this says 2y plus 17 equals 6y plus 5. Now we are trying to solve and finding the y value. So I'll write it down over here. We are trying to find out the y value, finding the y value. To find out the y value, what do I see that I've got the y written on the left hand side and I've got the y written on the right hand side as well. We always try to shift the smaller number towards the bigger side. So this is 2y and this is 6y. So the smaller one is plus 2y. The inverse of plus 2y would be minus 2y to do on both the sides. So this plus 2y and minus 2y would cancel. On the left hand side now we are having a 17. 6y minus 2y would be 4y and then plus 5. Now we try to shift the numbers to one side. So we have got the y variable written on the right hand side. This is plus 5. We do the inverse of plus 5 on both the side, which would be minus 5. And 17 take away 5 would be 12. The other side we are having is 4y. We still have to find out the y value from here. So to get rid of this 4 from here, we divide by 4 on both the sides. How many 4 makes 12 would be 3 and this would be the y value. So you can write down like this or you can even write down y equals 3 would be the same thing. I'm going to show you the last example which is similar to what we have done just here now. So now we are again having the y terms to be written on both the sides. We are having 4y plus 3 equals 2y plus 8. Now clearly we can see that we have got the y variable written on the left hand side and we have the y variable written on the right hand side. We try to just bring the y terms on one side. So we try to eliminate the one which is having a smaller number. So we do minus 2y on both the sides. So now the left hand side would be 4y minus 2y would be 2y. There's a plus 3 equals plus 2y minus 2y will go and you'll be having just 8. Now, because with plus 2y, we are having this plus 3 as well. We do the inverse of plus 3 would be minus 3 and that would be 2y equals 8 take away 3 would be 5. To find out the value of y, we'll go into now, get rid of this 2 from here by dividing by 2 on both the sides. So when you divide by 2 on both the sides, you will get y equals 5 over 2 or you can write it down in a decimal form which would be 2.5. So this is the video on the explanation of solving linear equations.